Hello everybody, and welcome back to the channel. It's me, Jordy, and today I haven't uploaded a video in a few days. I've been really busy, thank God. The past 2 or 3 days I've been running I've been running duos with my parents, so White Owl and White Dove. If you've seen the Instagram, you'll know that we both hauled some backhoes together. We both hauled some containers together, which is what we're doing. Well, not doing now, but we already dropped them off, and now we're headed back to the house because it's Friday. And yeah, so I thought I'll give you a story time again, and this time it'll be the story time of when we were first starting off. I was in White Owl. We had White Owl, we had White Dove, of course, we got that truck first. And we had a 25-foot Big Tex trailer. You know, dual tandem axles, mega ramps, and all that good stuff. But it was a 20-foot deck plus 5 of the mega ramps, so a 25-foot trailer. But the story I'm about to tell you is the time I was driving with my dad in the passenger seat, and we got into an accident. Someone hit us, and there was an accident. So the details that I can remember, because I believe this happened about a year ago or something like that, because this kind of happened kind of like towards the beginning of when we were starting. So I remember that we were empty. We were driving back to the house, and I believe we were on 59. We had just dropped off a load somewhere in Houston, and it was towards like the end of the day, and we were driving home. And there's, you know, typically about 4 lanes. We'll start with the one on the far right. 1, 2, 3, 4. I was in lane 3, and I was driving. This was like somewhat when I was starting to drive with the trailer. So my dad was in the passenger seat. I think he had driven all day, so he was a little bit tired, so he decided, you know, he'll hop to the passenger seat. I'll drive from where we dropped off to the house, which was, I believe, no more than an hour and a half. So speed limit, you know, 65, everybody goes about 70. Truck and trailer, you follow the speed limits because it's just what you do, because you're hauling heavy and you're longer than everybody, and you got to be more precautious. And also, like I said, I had just gotten my license. So what had happened was I was in lane 3, just cruising, going about 65, 60. I was used to the trailer by that time because we had done trips before. So, you know, I'm just cruising. I saw this Scion TC, white Scion TC, from my bottom mirror, kind of like coming towards us. You know, obviously that's the fast lane, this is the travel lane. So next thing I know, I see this dude. I look off my bottom mirror again, and he hits the barrier, just like slams into the barrier. And then next thing I know, he whacks me right on my front fender and my driver door. Obviously, this immediately woke up my father, and he just looked at me and he's like, "What happened?" My initial reaction, and this is the first thing that came out of my mouth: "It's not my fault. It's not my fault. It's not my fault." But in Spanish, no es mi culpa, no es mi culpa, no es mi culpa. So then he looked at me, and this all happened really quick. So after I said those 3 times, the Scion TC hits the wall again, rams me again, and this time he collides with like half back of my driver door and my passenger door. So then my dad's like, "What, you know, what's going on? Why did we just get hit?" And I'm all like, you know, I'm kind of like panicking, but you know, when someone hits you, your first instinct is to kind of like dip out of the way. But if you got a truck and trailer, you can't just throw yourself to the right or to the left. So he hit me again, and my dad just like yells at me, you know, because, you know, it's in the moment. He's like, "Speed up and, you know, like quit this dude from hitting you." So then next thing I know, this dude hits the wall again, and then he barely clips my trailer. Like he just leaves like 2 little dents on my trailer, and I think as he clipped my trailer, it ripped his bumper off. And the next thing I know is I already passed him up. I'm about like maybe 10 feet in front of him, And then next thing I see is like him slam against the wall again. And this might have been just me in the moment, And I promise you, I saw him when he hit the wall. He like got a little bit airborne and then just slammed down and then just stopped moving. So then I kind of just still pull over between the travel lane and the fast lane. I didn't even get into the shoulder. And my first initial reaction was like, oh, snap. I gotta go see why this dude just hit me. Like, what's wrong with the driver? Because I was in my lane and it was not my fault. So I immediately I make sure my dad was fine. Like, hey, you fine? This and that. Is anything hurt? He's like, no, I'm good. I was asleep. That just woke me up. And I'm like, I'm good. He asked me if I'm good. I'm like, I'm fine. So then I'm like, just wait here, or you know, I just told him, I'm gonna go see the driver. So I initially just jump out the truck, and I just kind of like go running towards the driver, and I like open the door. His hood's a little bit smoky, but it's steam from the radiator. So I open, like, I think his door was open, or I opened it or something like that. And so I go to him and I'm all like, what happened? And then he's all like, oh, I think I fell asleep and I hit the wall and then I hit somebody. And I'm like, I know, you hit me. And then he looks at me and he like, are you the driver? And I'm like, yes, I'm the driver. You just hit me. And then he's all like, oh, I'm sorry, this and that. And I'm all like, okay, are you fine? This gentleman, he was an older gentleman, like mid-40s, around there. I think bald or shaved head, and all I could see was that he had like a seat like about this big, like cut into his forehead, because I think he slammed into his steering wheel or something like that. And then he had a passenger, and his passenger, all he said was he smacked his knee like towards on the center console or something like that. So I was just like, okay, as long as you're okay, nobody's like well, obviously like they were injured, but nobody's like dead, you know, or you know, having like a something, you know, like a stroke or something like that. So I'm just like, you know, remember what you just told me for when the police show up. And then, you know, obviously like there's other people there. They pulled over, hey, I called the police, this and that. And I looked at the people like, did y'all see the accident? Several people said yes. And then I'm like, okay, cool. So when the police show up, y'all can, you know, tell them what happened. And they're like, oh, I'm not getting involved. Nobody wanted to get involved. And so everybody kind of like took off. The police showed up. And then right when the police showed up, you know, I gave him my statement. My dad came up too, and I told him, you know, pretty much what I'm telling y'all, that I'm just cruising, and then this dude just slams and hits me. So then I hear the officer tell me everything is fine. Now he's gonna go talk to the owner of the Scion. So he went to go talk to the owner of the Scion, and I'm about five feet away from him. And then the owner of the Scion's like, yeah, I don't know what happened, but that kid drove into my lane and pushed me into the shoulder and made me slam against the wall. And then I just kind of look at the officer like, no way, this dude just lied. Straight to the cop. And then different officers spoke with his passenger. They got him out of the car, so they spoke with him separately. And then I think second officer spoke with the passenger, and then they spoke with my dad as well. So then I guess the first cop on the scene was the main one. He came and he talked to me, and I'm all like, you know, he was lying. He's all like, don't worry, son. His passenger said it was the driver's fault. He fell asleep behind the wheel, or he was texting or something, but he just did not pay attention. He slammed the wall, slammed into you, slammed the wall, slammed into you, and then that's pretty much what had happened. So, mind you, this whole time I did not even like once look at my truck. I just hopped out and just, you know, went to go see how they were. Paramedics were there, you know, the whole jazz. We had shut down like 3 lanes. Fire department was there, blocking some lanes. So then I go walking back to my truck, and all I see is pretty much my whole driver's side is crunched. From fender to my toolbox, all crunched. So this is when I look at it, and I think my truck wasn't even more than 3 months old, maybe 6 months old or something like that. It was still relatively new. And I just look at it, and I just squat and just like, you know, cover my eyes, not crying, but just like, I can't believe this just happened. Like, I just look at my heart, I just look at my truck, and I feel heartbroken because, you know, I'm working hard for this truck to pay it off, and it's brand new, just for somebody to ruin it, in a sense. So then once the paramedics saw that, you know, I kind of squatted down, and I was just like, oh my gosh. They came up to me, and they're like, son, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm totally fine, but look at my truck. And when I was saying this, you know, I was choking up a little bit. I love my truck. So the paramedics are like, oh, but you're fine, your dad's fine. That's all that matters. Y'all can fix this materialistic stuff. And I'm like, yes, I understand that. That's, you know, that's usually my mentality. Materialistic stuff doesn't matter. But I was like, that truck is pretty much brand new. I had just bought it, my first brand new truck, and now it's ruined because some insert word you want to insert right here decided to hit the wall and hit me and then blame me for it. So the paramedics were like, you're fine, the truck's fine. And you know, it was just like, it took me a little bit of a second to snap out of it, but you know, everything was fine. My radiator fan wasn't rotating, and I saw that my truck was kind of overheating a little bit, so I popped the hood. The truck was still on, and I just like smacked the fan and then just kicked it back on. So then the officer was like, is your truck still on? I'm like, yeah, the truck's fine. He's all like, how did you keep it in the lane? And I'm all like, I don't know, it was just instinct, because I know if I had, you know, swayed to the side, or maybe if I even wasn't there, the dude could have hit the wall and like just maybe caused a bigger accident. But because my truck, you know, big old dually diesel truck, and the trailer, it's heavy, he barely nudged me. So the officer was like, okay, we're impeding traffic, let's try to get everybody off the road. If your truck still works, we'll drive it off. And I'm like, yeah, it still works. So we drove it off, and we went to go meet up at this other location, like a restaurant, bank type of area, which is like just off the nearest exit. So when we were talking, the officer, you know, came to me, you know, he filed the report, and he's all like, you're not at fault, here's his insurance information and all this good stuff. And yeah, that's pretty much what happened. I'm like, what happened to his car? His car's totaled on top of a wrecker. Like, his car does not work anymore. He's all like, that's one awesome truck. It kept y'all safe, it kept everybody else safe, and it still runs. So yeah, then after that, you know, my dad drove home because I was still pretty upset about what had happened, and I started calling insurances, trying to get the whole process. And the whole process of getting my truck fixed, that is a whole different story. But after that, when we were driving home, since both doors were crunched up, they didn't seal correctly, and all you hear is just like that wind sound. And as soon as I heard that, I was just fuming. I was mad, but we were already driving home. But in the end, I was talking with my dad, you know, he was trying to calm me down, which, you know, it worked. And he's all like, you know, the important thing is no one got seriously hurt. You and me, we're perfectly fine. Nothing happened to us. Your truck, it can get fixed. And, you know, it was just the principle that I just got it, and I worked so hard for it, and it just got ruined. But, you know, long story short, it all eventually got fixed. But, you know, it just sucked at the time, because it was my truck, it was my baby, or it is my truck, it is my baby, and White Alloy is still kicking. So the truck, you know, I'll probably tell you the story about the insurance later, but for right now, just know that it took a while. Their insurance was cheap and crappy at best, and I had to argue and call so many times, but that's a story for another time. But all in all, my truck got fixed, and yeah, that's a quick little story time. Leave a comment down below of a time you had an accident. But yeah, that's a quick little story, and I'm gonna wrap it up here. But the main details were, I got hit on my dad first. I made sure I was fine, he was fine. Then I went to go check on the dude. Everything was, in a sense, everything worked out in the end, fine. Which I kind of wish nothing had happened to begin with, but whatever. But we got everything fixed. But yeah, anyways, I'm gonna cut this video here. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, follow Instagram, j.j.j.hotshotservice, and thank you for watching.